Welcome back to It's Your Law. I'm George Curtis, and at my suggestion, Judge Bill Carver brought a guest, and he brought Carolyn Carver, who is also an attorney and somebody I've known for quite a number of years. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, George.
Well, now your career has been interesting, and because I don't know much about it, I think the public is not real likely to know a great deal about it. 17 years of your career, you have been a military lawyer through the Navy. What kind of experience is that?
I think it was a great experience, and I'm just going to correct you. It was 20 years.
Oh, I see.
did retire, so hopefully I'll have some form of payment in a couple of years when I turn 62. But anyway, it was a very interesting experience. I think it was a great experience. Graduating from law school, they sent me out to California, and you've got quite a bit of on-hands experience right away. They gave you cases, started out doing criminal defense work, and they rotate you around, so you got a chance to do prosecution. Pretty much the same types of law you're going to do in the private sector, but really, you know, you're going to get much more, I think, trial experience right away, as opposed to going into a private firm where you might do quite a bit of, assistance for the other attorneys that go to court. So it was great trial experience right away, and that's pretty much why I was interested in it to start.
So some of the time you are representing other service people who are accused of a crime or a mistake or something like that, and some of the time you're prosecuting them because they're accused of a crime or a mistake.
Right, and of course, to avoid the conflict, you are in separate offices, so you're not doing the same type, you're not defending and you're not prosecuting at the same time. They'd rotate you out, make sure that there wasn't any conflict, but your clients were the military service members.
Now those military people, of course, have all the other problems that we civilians have. They have problems with their families breaking up, with somebody unable to get medical attention, real estate transactions and things like that, landlord-tenant problems of the families when they get shipped out. Did you have to help them with things like that too?
Absolutely. There's a different segment they call legal assistance, and they set attorneys up in an office, and the service members are provided those services free. They make an appointment. They can come in and talk about those issues. As you said, landlord-tenant issues. We were limited in the sense of we couldn't go out into the court system, the state court system, and represent them, but we could set them up with an attorney that could help them, which was great networking, learning the bar in the areas that we were stationed at, and you could, certainly assist them in representing themselves if they chose to do that. But there were a number of issues as far as the criminal matters. Again, same thing you see here, a lot of assault type cases. Really it's just a cross section of the private sector. You see with their families, you see the sexual assault type incidences, fights, the drunk driving things.
Well, the kind of things that our courts deal with here. In fact, after you were out of the service, and even while you were in the service part-time, you were in private practice here in Oshkosh. How long was that?
Right. I got out of the active duty, I should say, in '92, I believe. Came back here and set up practice with a local firm, and did criminal defense again with the public defender's office. And I like that trial experience. I like being connected to the courthouse. I like being connected to other attorneys. I like feeling like you're helping somebody that's, obviously in trouble and most likely unfamiliar with the system. And so I did that for, I think it was about 4 years. Then, of course, my children started coming along, and I took off briefly to raise them, but sort of kept up with, practicing on my own.
Well, in addition to that, Carolyn, you've put your toe into politics a time or two. You've run for office. What offices?
Well, one of the reasons I did come back in '92 was I was interested in running for the district attorney's office, and I did that. I think that was in '94. And then around 2006, I believe it was, I ran against one of the local judges here. And then just recently, I ran for my father's spot that he's retiring for, or from. So,
well, you have seen circuit judge in action right in your own home and with your dad, Bill, who brought you here today so that you know what that job entails. And it entails a very broad variety of cases. I can specialize as a private attorney, but a judge has got to be a generalist. They have to know enough to make the right decisions about a great number of subjects. So that we have a situation now that Judge Schmidt is resigning, and the governor is going to appoint a new judge for Branch 6, and then that judge is going to have to run again in an election. Will that be next spring?
No, I think I'm not quite sure. I thought they'd finish out the term and then have the election.
So there'll be a lot of people running. Is Carolyn Carver going to be one of them?
I'm certainly interested in the appointment process, so I'll be throwing my hat into that. You know, one of the, I think, important things about that is, we've talked about that, as being able to be elected, knowing that system, and I think having run 3 times, I certainly am familiar with the campaigning process and had some success at that, so I think I certainly would be prepared for that.
Well, we have a situation where my understanding is Judge Schmidt is resigning effective September. At that point, and you correct me if I'm wrong about the date, the governor will appoint somebody, and then when it does come up for election again, it's free for all. Anybody can throw their hat in a ring and start campaigning, and I think something we've learned recently, there's a great deal of interest in that particular job. It's something important in terms of the service, the prestige, and now the economics are something that people can live with. Sounds to me like you're going to be one of the people who is out there in the fight and say, look at me, I've got something to offer. Am I right?
I hope so. And I'm not sure who the other people would be at this point, but I'd like to believe that I'm certainly qualified for the position. You know, I ran my other campaigns on the fact that I have a broad background in law. I think that's important, being a judge. Another thing is a strong legal foundation and education, so that, you know, those questions you don't have answers to, you certainly know where to go, at least to hopefully find the answer, either yourself or networks with somebody else who may have the experience.
Great ideas, great insight, and thank you for sprucing up the program with these 2 old guys. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
And thank you, ladies and gentlemen.